Hey West Ottawa, I'm Coach Schwalier, the tennis coach at West Ottawa, and this here is Coach Andy Blake. The next step for our tennis program is getting a strength and conditioning program going where we have lots of people working out, and I want to talk about that a bit and what that's going to look like and why we are doing it. So basically, the reality is that over the last few years, the team has gotten progressively better and better, to the point where our girls are hitting very hard, they're running very fast, and they're getting more consistent. So not only are they swinging a lot harder, but they're doing it a lot of times over and over. And as I look at the whole program, if we want to improve, the next step is going to be protecting our bodies. Now that we have the skills and talent to move very aggressively and hit very hard over and over, we need to protect those bodies. So this year, our main push for improvement for West Ottawa women's tennis is strength and conditioning. So to do that, I knew we needed two things. First, we needed a program. So we are going to be using West Ottawa's Power Strength program that the whole school's using. But I knew that if we were going to do this, we need to do things that can make it tennis specific. And we need to have a person who is capable of doing that and able to head that up. So we have a new coach on our staff, Coach Andy Blake, and he is the first coach for West Ottawa Tennis who is not a tennis-specific coach. His primary role is helping the players in our program to get faster and stronger and to protect all of our muscles and all of our joints so that as we continue to improve, we can do so in a way that is as safe and healthy as possible for the girls.
Well, thanks, Coach. I'm really excited to get this going because you bring up a lot of really good points when it comes to training for sports in general. And injury prevention is probably one of the number one things that this is going to help with, because especially with a sport like tennis where it's very repetitive and you're using the same muscles over and over and over, it's really important that you train the other muscles to help balance the body out, and so we can keep the girls on the court. Because if you've ever dealt with an injury before, then it's not very fun to deal with, and it could take some time to come back from. So I'm really excited to get this going, because what we're going to do is we're going to train these girls to become better athletes out on the court, to help strengthen the muscles that they would use when they're playing tennis. We're not going to train them to become power lifters or bodybuilders or anything like that. So I'm really excited to get this going.
Cool, awesome. So talk a little bit about what that would look like. So you say that these are your goals. So what would it look like to do those things?
Well, so what we're going to do is we're going to start out, everybody is going to be on an equal playing field. Mm-hmm. So it's it doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are, how fast, slow, body shape, whatever. That doesn't matter, because there's a specific way that we're going to go about doing this. And the first stage of how we're going to implement this program is to create a general foundation of strength. Mm-hmm. And then as the girls get stronger and progress along, we will move into more explosive exercises where we use resistance bands, rubber tubing, mm-hmm. things like that, maybe even some plyometrics. So when they're out on the tennis court, they are moving more fluidly and they're hitting with more power. And of course, maintaining joint integrity, strengthening tendons and ligaments and muscles to help prevent injury and things like that. So getting started, form is going to be the absolute most important. It's going to be a little bit of a slow process starting out, because there's a lot of teaching points, which I'm really excited to get going. And as they progress, then we will move them along, moving up weights, maybe implementing some new exercises, things like that. But that's kind of like the general idea of how it's going to work. But I'm really excited to get this started now, because I know tennis season doesn't start until the spring. And if the girls take this seriously, they're going to have a pretty big advantage over their competition.
I think so. Also, just kind of introduce yourself a little bit more, your background in
Sure.
the community, because you're going to be the one working with these athletes day to day. And I want people to know who it is that we have working.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know a lot of people in the tennis program right now anyway, because my kids are coming up. My son Brandon, he's a sophomore on the JV team, and my daughter Megan is on the 8th grade team, who'll be a freshman next year. So I know a lot of people in the community. Most people know me as a stay-at-home dad. I've been a stay-at-home dad for about 15 years now. I've always been heavily involved in health and fitness, and I was a kinesiology major at Michigan State, and I had an opportunity to be an assistant strength and conditioning coach for the football team, and that really opened up my eyes to a whole nother world of training, because the way I trained in years past was based all on bodybuilding principles. I used to get muscle and fitness, and when Arnold Schwarzenegger was really big, that's how I would lift, and I'd be really sore, and I think I did pretty much everything wrong, but I learned a lot over the years. But when I was at Michigan State, that really it really blew my mind, just the intensity that they trained with and some of the things that they were doing. And so over the years, I've done personal training, and I've worked with elite college athletes all the way down to the middle school athlete and everything in between. And so the philosophy that I have developed over the years is just kind of a culmination of everything that I've learned. And it really, the sport specific stuff is really where I have found my niche. And that's really where I have the most fun, because especially with the middle school and high school age kids, a lot of them don't know how to do it correctly. And if I would have trained back then like I know now, it would have made a world of difference, because my coach, he was the powerlifting coach too, so everything was bench and squat. Well, anytime someone asks my opinion on a training program, I'm like, okay, well, what's the motivation behind it? What's the purpose of developing that strength? And so if you want to be a powerlifter, you go lift like a powerlifter. We're trying to build strong tennis athletes, and I have trained athletes in the past. Not on a huge scale, just because of time, space, and that kind of stuff. But everyone that I have trained, they've gotten great results. And the biggest compliment that you can get as a coach in general is when the parents come to you and they say, wow, I really notice a difference when they're out on the soccer field, when they're playing tennis or doing whatever it is. So
sure.
That's what I'm really excited about. Because when they start to see results, you can see it in their face. The confidence goes up, and that carries over into everything. So I'm really excited to get this, started with the girls.
Cool. Thank you. So you can kind of probably see why I'm pretty excited about this, and very excited to have Coach Blake with us. So as this gets going, I just want to really emphasize that this is where we're going with West Ottawa tennis. So we're going to kind of change the paradigm for what does it mean to be part of the West Ottawa tennis program. So over the fall, the winter, and into the season, all year round, when possible, we want strength and conditioning to be something that your child is doing. So obviously if you're in a different sport, like if you're playing a fall sport or a winter sport, then obviously we want you to make that your priority during that time. But if you are not playing a fall sport or a winter sport, then we would kind of say that this is what we would be doing in those months. Not that it's mandatory, but we really want to protect the bodies and increase the strength and get this going. So just very excited to have you, because the reality is no matter how awesome of a job he does, the biggest success of the program will be getting a bunch of girls in there and doing it week in, week out, because no matter how good the program is, it really comes down to all of the students, all the athletes getting in there, and we're excited for it. So thanks for watching this, and looking forward to seeing you.
Thanks, Coach.